Hey again everyone, I am back today with a video that I want to show you the books that are on my January TBR list. I'm going to start with the funniest books, not funny as in comedy, but the ones that it's a little weird, but you'll see. As I was going through some Christmas boxes in my storage area of my house, I found a big box of books that I bought when I was a teenager all the way up like through maybe college. And probably there were probably about 50 books in there, and a lot of them were classics. Some of them were things that I was interested in at the time. I've always been interested in history, but just a whole lot of books. And many of them I had not read yet. I used to be kind of a collector of books instead of a reader. So I collected a lot of books when I was a kid and didn't read most of them. So I decided that as part of the Goodreads challenge that I'm doing, and a couple of other challenges that I'll talk more about those later on. But as part of those challenges, I was going to try to whittle down this list of books that I've never read. Some of them are pretty obscure. In fact, the two that I have for this month are very, very obscure books. But I did find them on Goodreads. It was amazing. So let me start with, I'll just start with this one. This is A Southern Woman's Story by, and I've got my Goodreads pulled up over here, Phoebe Yates Pember. And it's Life in Confederate Richmond. A wry and realistic account of work in a Confederate military hospital. This apparently is a diary of Mrs. Pember's work while she was in nursing in the hospital from 1862 to 1865. And like I said, this is on Goodreads, and it has a few positive reviews that I was kind of skimming through. But this series now, or this book now, is part of a series of American Civil War classics produced by the University of South Carolina's press. So, I'm really looking forward to reading this. I think I started reading this a few times when I was younger and never really either got into it or got distracted by something else. It's not uncommon for me to get distracted. But I thought, since it's fairly short, Goodreads has it as 224 pages, but my copy has 144. So, but it's very, very, very small font, so it might take me a little while. But I figured since it was short and I have a fairly long TBR for the rest of the month, I may be able to squeeze this one in and get something knocked off of this giant old TBR. So the next one is also a book that I found in that box, and this is this is hilarious. It's The Alamo by Lon Tinkle, and let me pull over to that thing on Goodreads. I did find it also, and the original title is 13 Days to Glory, and this is hilarious. It's on the cover. It says, the true minute-by-minute, bullet-by-bullet story of how 182 tough Texans fought off for 13 desperate days an army that outnumbered them 30-1. So you would think that this would be nonfiction, historically accurate, but on the spine, I'm going to try to get this up there where you can see it, it says fiction. So I don't know if you can see it or not. It's not focusing. But anyway, right there it says fiction. So I don't know what we're going to get into. But the funniest part of this is on the inside cover, I have inscribed, purchased June 5th, 1983 at the gift shop of the Alamo. Oh, and I remember when I was a kid, we went to the Alamo, and it must have been 1983. I was a precocious 13-year-old who, like I said, loved to collect books, but not necessarily read them. And I wanted to remember the Alamo. So I bought this book and never read it. Well, I'm going to try to read it this month. Now, I just thought that was hilarious that I had written in there when I bought it and where I bought it. I mean, what 13-year-old kid does that? I was such a nerd. I'm still a nerd. But anyway, I have fun. The next 3 books are, I'm going to go a little backwards from a normal TBR. I'm going to start with the books that I may not get to. Probably won't get to. This is a fairly long TBR. These 2 are part of a book club that I belong to on Goodreads. And the book that I wanted to read this month is a biography of Queen Victoria. But it's not available at my library yet. So I had to get a couple of others that were also on the list to read this month. I'm hoping that the Victoria book comes in because I'd really like to read that. And I think I would enjoy that more than these. But if that doesn't come in, I'm going to try to read at least one of these. The first one is The News of the World by Paulette Giles, Giles. And I don't really know a whole lot about this book. But it's apparently, it's after the Civil War. And a captain has to escort someone somewhere. Not really sure. So, from somewhere in Texas. So, we'll see what this is about, and if I get to read it during the month, I'll give you the details about it during my January wrap-up. Second book is also from that book club, and this is called The Boys on the Boat, and it's about the 9 Americans and their epic quest for gold at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. I like this premise. I really enjoy reading about the 1936 Olympics because it was such an amazing time for the American team, and such a horrible time for Mr. Hitler. So I'm really excited about reading this. If I can get to it, I really would like to read it. And I think my husband would like to read it. I was talking to him about it. So I will let you know toward the end of the month if I actually get to it. And if I don't get to it this month, this is probably one that I will come back to in later months. Just like I did this one. This is Rebecca. This was another book club book selection for the month of November that I never finished. And so I checked it out again from the library. If you watched my other videos, you'll see that it's a different actual book. The other book that I had, that they gave me before, wasn't available, so I got this one. So I was about halfway through when I had to turn it back in because I couldn't renew it anymore. And then the holidays were coming up, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to read it all, so I'm just going to check it out later. So if I can finish this month, I'd really like to. I heard it's wonderful, and since my book club read it in November, I'd really like to finish it. Okay, now on to the exciting books. I really, really, really want to get to this one. I started reading this series, the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I started reading this October, November, something like that. I read the Assassin's Blade, which is the book that has the four novellas that the prequel. That's the word. It's the prequel to this book, the four novellas. But I haven't gotten a chance to read the first actual book in the series. I really would like to read this. I understand it's wonderful, and I'm probably going to get to this one. The other books that I have a lot of audio books, so hopefully I'll be able to sit down for some time and read this. Okay, now we're going to, well, let me go ahead and do this one next, and then we'll do the audiobooks. Well, I have another one that's not an audiobook too, but my book club this month, Read Like a Mom, is reading The Handmaid's Tale. Now, I'm a bongo, so I got the wrong book from the library. This one, Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This one is actually a book called Critical Insights of The Handmaid's Tale. So it's like a book report on the book. And I got the wrong book. But I did, when I realized this, I sat down to start to read it, and it was like, this isn't a novel. This is weird. And then I realized what I had done. I'd gotten a commentary book on The Handmaid's Tale. So I went back on the library's website, and I do have the actual book on hold, and it's ready for me to pick up. So I'm going to get to that and turn this. Well, I might keep this in case I have some trouble with the book, but I'll probably turn this back in. And then I started reading this series in December, and I'm going to finish, actually it's a duology. I'm going to finish this month. I've already started reading it. I'm on page 122. Blood for Blood by Ryan Groudon. It's the continuation of Wolf by Wolf, which was the story of Yael, who was part of the resistance in, she's not a Nazi death camp survivor, and she had to win a motorcycle race and kill Hitler to free everyone. And I'm really enjoying this. I'm actually enjoying this a lot better than the first one. Maybe it's because I'm not trying to learn all of the backstories from everything, and it's actually giving me the backstories. Actually, that's how the book starts. So I'm really looking forward to completing this. I hope to go ahead and finish this within the next couple of days so that I can really get ahead on my Goodreads challenge. My Goodreads challenge was taunting me because I decided I was going to read 52 books in the month, or the year 2017. And to do that, I joined the Goodreads challenge. And the first week, it was saying, you're on track. You've read 0 of 52. You're on track. And then on January 8th, it switched over to, you're behind. You're one book behind. And I was like, okay, now this thing is taunting me because I haven't finished the book. But I finished a book already, so I'll tell you about it in a minute. Just 3 more. Dragonfly and Amber by Diana Gabaldon. This is the second book in the Outlander series. I really, really enjoyed Outlander. Fell in love with Jamie Fraser. And as I said in my other book, I keep wanting to dye my husband's hair red and buy him a kilt. He's not very fond of that idea. But today's our wedding anniversary, so maybe he'll do it. I don't know. Anyway, I have this on audiobook, and I also have the physical copy. As I've said before, I like to have both when I'm listening to an audiobook in case there's a problem, something skips, because it does quite frequently with library copies of audiobooks. And then also if I need to read something at night, there's my dog coming back home. Read something at night after I've gone to bed and don't have the CD player with me, then I can have this. I'm going to bring you right back after I get Teddy in before he tears down the door. Okay, so now that Teddy's not going to break down my door, Dragonfly and Amber. Really excited to get back into the world of Jamie and Claire. Last two, the next to the last book in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. I do have this in hardcover as well, and actually I do own it. Well, it's my stepson's, but he left it here when he moved out, so I guess it's mine now. I've actually already finished this. Today is January 11th. I know I'm getting a little late in recording this, but it's just been one of those couple of weeks. I actually finished this today, so I'm one up on my Goodreads challenge, so Goodreads doesn't have to taunt me anymore. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Cried, sad, but wonderful, exciting, thrilling. Can't wait to get to the next one, which, you guessed it, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. I think the lighting is a little bit better if I do this over here. The last book of the series, I'm really looking forward to reading it and then having a marathon of the videos with my kids. Little man keeps wanting to spoil everything for me, and I keep telling him, no, I haven't read it. Oh, don't say anything. He keeps wanting to. He comes into the room, living room after watching one of them the other night, and he says, can I just please tell you one thing about it? It's killing me. And I said, no, you can't. So, as soon as I get this, he can tell me all the spoilers he wants. So, I also have this one in audiobook, and I'm going to actually start on it today. So, that's my January TBR. I'm not expecting to get through all of these. I do expect to get through maybe 4 more, possibly 5 if I do one of the first ones, the small 150, 160 page books. I ought to finish this one, and I'm definitely going to finish this. I really am kind of invested in the story now, so I want to finish it. The rest of them, I'm just going to see what happens. As I said, it's already the 11th, and I have completed one, and I'm well on my way in the second one. So we'll just have to see. Might be a weird month, but what else is new for me? Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everybody who has recently subscribed, and I promise you I'll get to your comments. I'm so sorry. It's crazy at my house. Thank you so much for watching. Fly high, Pooh Bear.